Hey Footprinters, Chrissy here. I'm going to do a reading I've been wanting to do a while. I set it up a while ago but didn't get around to do it. And it's one of my mystery tour readings. And this is on the disappearance of Jean Sprangler in 1949. Now, Jean Spangler was an actress and a model, and on October 7, 1949, at the age of 26, she told her sister-in-law that she was going to meet her ex-husband and discuss child support and then go to work at a night shoot. She failed to show up at the next day and she was formally reported missing. Now, the police found her purse 2 days later in Griffith Park, along with an unfinished note addressed to someone named Kirk. Wow. There's only one Kirk I think of who might have been around at that time. Sprangler's family had no idea who Kirk was, and they claimed she was pregnant at the time and was seeking an abortion. Abortions at that time, of course, were illegal. She was never seen again, and her case remains open. Wow. So, I thought I might do an overview on this case. I was thinking about doing it across, but the outcome was she was missing. So let's have a look at an overview. There's a lot of things that could have happened to her, and I won't speculate at the moment. Obviously, she disappeared. That's the biggest thing. So let's have a look at the whole situation with Jean Sprangler. And if you're interested, you'll see her picture up there on the start, but this is her there. Okay? Hang on. My husband was just opening and closing a door. So let's have a look. First thing I'm going to do is shuffle the cards and do my very pathetic imitation of, you know, where you hold the two sides. And I'm better at it with some decks than I am with others. But, you know, either way, I'm not very good. So I do it just to get a bit of a bigger, you know, some sections separated rather than every card, and then I'll do a normal shuffle. So, okay. So, Jean Sprangler, 1949. Jean Sprangler. As I said, I'm not a psychic. I'm not a medium. I don't think I'm particularly sensitive, but I'm intuitive. And things will pop into my head, and I tend to follow my gut and my intuition. Even if what pops into my head first, I might say, oh yeah, and then something suddenly will pop in and say, no, that's not it, it's this instead. So it's like, if you follow that one, you're going to be led down the wrong track. This is the way you need to go, that sort of thing. So, anyway, Jean Sprangler, disappearance, October 7th, 1949. The world. First thing that popped into my head with the world was her time here was due to end. She had completed her journey on Earth. But also, it is also, I should imagine, one of those cases that at the time, beautiful young starlet disappears, really captured the attention of the entertainment world, if not the world in general. So let's do an overview, okay? Put this here. The situation in general. She was feeling isolated. She was feeling alone. Like she didn't really have any support, anyone to support her or help her. think she was tempted to shine a light on a situation, but she didn't feel like she had the support to really do that. She felt she probably just had to suck it up and go along with the status quo. She felt alone, without support, and isolated. What were the influences on her at the time? Anxiety. She was extremely anxious. Losing sleep, probably feeling some gut churnings, emotional. This Nine of Swords, it's like she probably felt that more people were against her than there were, but there were still plenty of people against her. Anyway, there are at least 3 that weren't against her. But the interesting thing here is the owl. Some people see an owl as a figure of wisdom. Some people see them as a spy. I see this owl as a spy. She was being watched. First thing that popped into my head when I said spy was studio. So she was, the studio were keeping a close eye on her. So, what do they say? It's not paranoia when everyone really does hurt you. I think a lot of, when people really are watching you, I think a lot of people are trying to tell, oh, you're just being paranoid, nothing's really going on. But she wasn't really. There were knives aimed at her, and maybe not as many as she thought, but there were. Over the whole situation with Jean Sprangler's Disappearance, out in the cold, a child. This person has a child in their arms. Rumour was that she was pregnant. I'd say she probably was. And this lady is looking at this person as if to say, please, you have to help me. And this person is, their eye is focused down. They're not looking at her in the face. They're not looking her in the eye. Their eyes focused down. She was begging and pleading for help from somebody, and I think she was both pregnant and really feeling out in the cold. And yeah, so what happened on that immediate night? The Empress, possibilities, the Empress. This is interesting. The Empress is a mother figure. She wanted the baby. I think she told someone that she wanted to keep the baby. This was, immediate at the time. She told someone she wanted to keep this baby. She didn't want to get rid of it. But often, the studio system at the time, even then, after the war, even then, it was still very much play out what was underneath it all. Underneath it all is wanting people to believe that their stars were happy family people with good old-fashioned values and everything, when it wasn't the case. But this is what the studio system wanted people to believe, and this underlined all of their actions with their stars and with their contract players and things like that, putting out that illusion of good old-fashioned family values. What had happened in the past to lead up to this? Queen of Swords. think she wanted to make some noise. I think she wanted to, I said here, she wanted to shine a light on things, I think. And she wanted people to answer for their actions. The Queen of Swords to me is calling people to answer for their actions. And I think she was making some quiet but very determined noises about, no, this isn't right. We shouldn't be treated like this. We shouldn't be told if we can or cannot have a child. We shouldn't be told who we should and should not be seen with. We shouldn't be told how to look, how to be, how to act. We shouldn't have our whole persona, all of our characteristics driven down into so that we match one of 4 different molds, you know, and all individuality about us. Because unless there were big stars who could make those noises, unless you were one of them, you couldn't. And she was not one of those big stars who could make those noises and stand out and say, no, I want my personality to be out there on the screen, because she wasn't a big money spinner and she wasn't a big star. So, but she wanted that right. She wanted to be able, and she wanted people to answer for their actions against her and others. And I think she'd been making some noises. So what happened? Actions that sparked the investigation of her disappearance. I'm going to ask a couple of questions with the yes-no. Okay? So, my yes-no list. I'll put this here. This captured the world's attention at the time. But she wasn't a big enough star to really do that. But just for a short, but it was also the time for her journey on Earth to be. So I'm going to look at the Empress, the mother figure, pregnant with hopes. She had a lot of hopes for her future. She was still feeling hopeful about her future and the possibilities of her future, even though she didn't want to get rid of the baby. So did she go to have an abortion? 9 of Wands, and it's reversed. I don't really have reversals in this. So 9 of Wands is a yes. She did go to have an abortion, but things went wrong. Something went wrong. She was, yeah. She didn't want to get an abortion, but she lacked the strength and the willpower to fully go against the system. So she went and got an abortion. She wanted to do all these things, and she wanted to bring these things to light, but she really didn't have the strength or the star power, or the physical strength and willpower to follow through. But she was making enough noises to be inconvenient. Next step was the investigation. But again, what happened here? Did she die from a botched abortion? That's the Moon. That's no. Generally that's no, but it's secret. They wanted to keep it secret. Of course, you know, it was illegal to get abortions at that time. I think that I'm going to do another 2 cards on this one. Moon The devil again is no, she was, and the magician is yes. They had the resources to cover it up, the studio or whoever. So they're saying no, she didn't die of a botched abortion. But she was big with secrets, and they used their resources to do something devilish to her. So I'm going to ask the question, was Jean Sprangler murdered? Nine of Pentacles, Two of Cups, the Emperor. Maybe yes. Yes. Yes, she was murdered. She was starting to cause too much trouble. A couple of people got together and decided, you know, yeah, she's got to be put out of the way. She's in danger of destabilising our money pot of sitting pretty too much. She knows too much. From what I know, her investigation never got anywhere, and it's still an open case. Let's ask about the investigation, because there was an investigation and they found her purse. Was it a real investigation? Six of Pentacles. First thing that popped into my mind was corruption. Ace of Pentacles, yes, it was a real investigation. Ten of Pentacles, lots of pentacles there, lots of money. Ten of Pentacles, yes. Six of Pentacles, yes. Ace. Yeah, it was a real investigation. They did investigate properly. But they did a real investigation in that they followed all of the steps you'd expect them to follow and nothing more, nothing deeper. They followed the leads to a certain step and then they didn't look any deeper, and I think there was probably some payoffs happening with all these pentacles. There was probably some payoffs in that they did what was expected of them to do, so they did the bare minimum of a real investigation. They did what they needed to do in order for it to be not written off as a whitewash, but no more. That bit about the note addressed to Kirk, there's only one person I can think of at the time who would match that, and that's Kirk Douglas. I'll ask if she was involved with Kirk Douglas and if he could have been the father of her baby if she was pregnant. But again, you know, this is not done out of disrespect for the man or any members of his family. I'm just asking a general question, okay? Because honestly, who you're involved with, and who you get pregnant. It's your business and it's their business. It's not the public's business. And it certainly should never have been the studio's business. So, was Gene Sprangler involved with Kirk Douglas? Yeah. Seven of Pentacles, Three of Pentacles, King of Pentacles. Yes. Maybe. Yes. Yeah. She was. They were being watched. He was a rising star at the time, and studios wanted to keep things close, in-house, within a small group. I'm even wondering if they tried to buy her off. With the Seven of Pentacles. Was she pregnant with Kirk Douglas's baby? That's a Chariot, that's a yes. Knight of Cups is a yes. Nine of Cups is a yes. Yeah, she was. She basically fell quickly for him. This is things happening at speed. She bought into the story he was telling her. He seemed like the romantic hero to her, somebody who could maybe drag her out of the minor stardom or the minor area she was in. But it would have upset. So she did. And the greedy merchants, it would have upset the status quo at the studio. This is the studio heads. They weren't happy about it. They had an affair. She got pregnant. It all happened very quickly. She thought it would go somewhere that it didn't. The Knight of Cups is often, for me, a something that's too good to be true. If she did have an affair with him, she thought it would be going somewhere where it was never destined to go. She did get pregnant. And the studio heads watching them like a hawk. Okay, so that is my reading on the disappearance of Gene Sprangler. I don't know that studios themselves get into all this thing, but I think they would have had, you know, first-hand. I don't think that studios themselves were first-hand with this thing, but I do suspect that they had people to the side who would take care of things for them, and that these people stepped in the case of Gene Sprangler and made sure that, you know, the studios might go, well, look, this woman's a bit of a problem. We need you to, you know, talk to her, sort things out, or whatever, and then leave it to them without saying, we want her bumped off. It could be, oh, we want her bought off, or whatever. If they were able to buy her off and she disappeared, you know, went and retired quietly on a nice farm that she had, you know, that she suddenly got the money for, it would have been okay. But I don't think she wanted to be bought off. She wanted to highlight some problems that were happening not just to her but to other actresses in the studio system. But I don't think she really got the chance to shine that light because she was too isolated and she lacked the physical and psychological willpower to do more. Okay, hang on a moment. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this reading up, and I'll be back a bit later and do some more readings. In the meantime, love you very much, footprinters. I hope you've enjoyed this mystery tour, and I will see you at the next reading. Bye bye.